All right, guys, what is up? Coach B here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some myths and I guess benefits of one of the most studied and original performance enhancing supplements on the market. Today that's going to be creatine. We're going to talk about creatine monohydrate. Reason being, creatine monohydrate, all the studies on creatine basically are done on monohydrate. So you see these fancy forms of creatine. Generally, most studies are done on monohydrate. It's much cheaper. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to use a creatine, go with a monohydrate. What exactly are the benefits of using creatine? Well, first off, what does creatine do? It essentially restores ATP levels, depleted ATP levels. And ATP is actually adenosine triphosphate, which is our dominant energy source during exercise. If we increase the pool that we have to if we increase the pool of creatine, the rate at which we restore and replenish our ATP stores is going to be much higher. Therefore, we can potentially get more reps, sprint for longer, so forth. Another thing creatine does is it actually increases our cellular hydration or our intracellular water. So it actually pulls water into the muscle. We're going to talk a little bit more about this during the section where I talk about myths, but we'll leave it at that for now. Another benefit of creatine is the neural protection. It actually, basically, our brain relies on ATP as well. So what it does is it actually provides a bit of membrane integrity for our brain cells. So again, that's not a massive concern when it comes to building the physique, but it is a benefit that is provided by creatine. And lastly, something that's actually been shown to do as well is help with the uptake of glycogen and the utilization of glycogen, as well as slightly reduce catabolism during prolonged exercise. Now, with that being said, this isn't going to be a replacement for something like a BCA or an EAA when you're actually using a supplement to prevent catabolism, but it has been shown to have this effect in some regards. So big question, does creatine actually help in building muscle? Yes, absolutely it does. Basically what I just stated, all the benefits there, essentially what it means is we're going to be able to get more reps with a given load in a shorter amount of time. So for instance, let's say you can bench press 225 pounds for 5 reps. If you add in supplementing with creatine monohydrate and get your body to those saturated levels of creatine, you may be able to push that 5 to 6, 7, 8 sooner than you would without supplementation with creatine. So essentially, if we're progressively overloading movements faster and keeping the creatine in our body and keeping the creatine pool saturated, we're going to build tissue at a better rate. That's just simple. Honestly, it doesn't need to be more confused than that. So when it comes to myths around creatine usage, something we see all the time is, oh, it's bad for your kidneys, it's harmful for your liver. First off, bullshit. The only person that would necessarily not be able to supplement with creatine would be somebody that previously has renal issues or kidney issues. Not recommended for them. They've already had kind of compromised kidneys there. There's been studies shown where people have taken up to 20 grams of creatine per dose every single day and had absolutely zero effect on renal activity. So I promise you, taking a standard dose of 5 to 10 grams of creatine based on your body weight and your goals is not gonna negatively affect you in terms of your liver or your kidneys. So go ahead, use creatine. Do not be scared of it negatively affecting your kidneys. All right, the next myth we all know and we all hear of, especially something I hear women talk lots about, is creatine will make you puffy or a water buffalo or bloated. Where does this come from? I'll tell you right where it comes from. It comes from supplement companies marketing a specific or special form of creatine. So you have crealkaline, you have creatine HCl, you have all these different types of creatine, but as I mentioned in the beginning, creatine monohydrate is the original creatine. It's the most studied form of creatine. So these companies need something flashy and they need to be able to promote these products in a certain way. What's the best way to do that? Make a standard form of creatine look not as good opposed to a new form of creatine that they are marketing. It's a simple marketing tactic. I'm sorry, it is. So when it comes to the bloated, the puffy, the water retention, Creatine is designed to pull water into the muscle. It does not make you store subcutaneous water, which is muscle between the skin and the muscle. It literally pulls water into the muscle. Yes, it's going to increase your total body water. There's studies shown that I'll post a screenshot in this video of a study that talks about how total body water increases, but the actual amounts of subcutaneous water and whatnot do not get affected by creatine supplementation. If anything, I'm a firm believer that creatine actually can help produce a fuller look. Pulling water into the muscle, a well-hydrated muscle is gonna pop a lot more than a flat muscle. So if you pull water into that muscle, and assuming your nutrition is adequate, you're actually gonna look fuller and harder potentially with creatine usage than you would without using creatine. Are you gonna see the scale go up? Potentially, yes, because again, you're holding on to more water. That water though is not between the muscle and the skin. That water is within the muscle, where we want it. And that's simply it. Again, this is one of the most backed, studied supplements ever. This supplement has withstood the test of time. It was one of the first performance supplements ever brought to the market, and there's a reason why it's been around as long as it has. I mean this when I say, if you're considering or concerned with your physique and building muscle and looking good, I'm a firm believer this is something that should absolutely remain in your supplement stack. Uptake post-workout is an amazing time to take it. As soon as you finish training, when you're basically very sensitive to nutrient absorption, or even in your pre-workout shake or intra-workout shake. If you're taking it pre or intra-workout, it's definitely gonna be utilized and absorbed better with a little bit of carbs. But again, it's based around your plan and how you want to use it. There's not going to be necessarily a wrong time to take it. Another thing I want to address, a lot of people say you need a loading phase, load it here and here and here. Don't worry about that. Just take your 3 to 5 to 10. I have a lot of my athletes take 10, especially bigger dudes. 3 to 5 to 10 grams, whatever you take it daily, every day. You're going to build up to that saturation point. The only reason you would ever take super concentrated doses is to get to that saturation point faster. It's not necessarily going to make anything in the long run of things that much different. That's it. That's all. A little bit of info on creatine. Coach B, out.